Okay. Big news. I have a little hint. Yeah, I don't know how to wrap my head around this, but I am a PenguinTeen book influencer. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to PenguinTeen, also to God, but also to PenguinTeen, because they saw something in me and I am very thankful and really excited. So yeah, my first ever ARC advanced reader's copy, for anyone who doesn't know, because for the longest time I had no idea what people were talking about when they were tweeting about ARCs. Arc de Triomphe, like character arc? Because of books? No, I had no idea, but I found out it's advanced reader's copy. And so I received The Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho, the ARC, from PenguinTeen through NetGalley in exchange for my honest review. So this book was marketed marketed to me as a companion novel, but then I saw on Goodreads that the author, Kat Cho, said that it is a sequel and a companion novel. So it's kind of both, I guess. It is the second in the series, the Gumiho series, and it is the sequel to Wicked Fox, which is the first one in the series. It is a fantasy romance, but it's an urban fantasy, paranormal fantasy, that takes place in modern-day Seoul, Korea. I don't think I've ever read a fantasy romance book. I also haven't ever read a paranormal fantasy, unless Twilight counts, but I read that years ago, like over 10 years ago. So I really haven't. So I guess what I'm saying is this is my first fantasy romance book and maybe my first paranormal romance, because usually paranormal romance scares me. Those things scare me. So first off, let me just say this book is not scary, which is a plus if you're like me and you're scared very easily. This is a plus. It's not freaky. It's nothing like that. It's actually super interesting, and it revolves around Korean mythology. So I was like learning a lot, and I just, you know, just the fact that it takes place in Seoul is so cool. It makes me like, I already want to travel there, but we can't travel because of the state of the world. But it's just, oh my gosh, it was just so much fun, like being transported there through the book, you know, and then learning at the same time, and just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't read a lot of fantasy. I don't have a lot of experience in fantasy, but I want to read more. So this was a really good, fun read to like dip my toes in the water. Also, let's talk about the cover. The cover is absolutely fantastic. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh, I want to go to the bookstore and see the physical copies. Like, I will go to the bookstore just to see a copy of that. It's just, oh my, like the cover for one just encapsulated me. The cover alone would make me want to read the book, like no joke. So I took a lot of notes on my phone, and I'll probably be reading off my phone so I can remember exactly like what I wanted to say, because this is my first like ARC review, like book review. So I know it's probably annoying that I'm reading off my phone, but I just want to say everything that I don't want to forget anything. I forgot to preface this that I looked up all the pronunciations of the names, but I'm still probably butchering them, but I just want you guys to know that I'm trying, like I really am trying, and I want to do it justice. Let's start here. So the same as Wicked Fox, the book takes place in modern-day Seoul and follows Myung, Jihoon, Somin, and Junwoo, but focuses mainly on Somin and Junwoo. This is Somin and Junwoo's, like, they're the main romance of this book. This one focuses on them getting together, because the last one was Myung and Jihoon. So even though this book focuses mostly on Somin and Junwoo, there are a few chapters like dispersed within that do focus on Myung. So that was actually really cool, because to be honest, like, she is the main character of the series, so it makes sense to, like, I guess, to have her have chapters within the book so you can kind of like see what's going on with her, because there's a lot going on with her. Okay, so let me start with the premise. Myung is sick after she lost her fox speed, which causes a tear between the mortal world and the between. Because she's causing this tear, they have to save her by finding her fox speed in order to fix it. Meanwhile, while the tear is open, it's allowing ghosts to stay a little too long in the mortal world, and they're able to actually be seen by mortals now, which can make the mortals go insane. So it's up to Myung's friend to help her save her and get her bead back. Her friends are a big part of this, helping her. The author herself said it is a companion novel and a sequel. So I went into reading this book as a companion novel. There were some parts that were lacking where it would have, if I were reading it as a sequel and I read the first one, then it would have made a lot more sense. So it really was kind of like half sequel, half companion. It just depends. Okay, so the romance in this is focused on Somin and Junwoo, and it's written as an enemies to lovers, because Somin expresses how much she hates him throughout the beginning. But for me, the enemies part wasn't that convincing. But in the beginning, she tells him how much she hates him, doesn't trust him, all this stuff so much. And like, I don't know, see, here's another part that, like, if I was reading as a sequel, I probably would have understood why they hate each other a little bit more. They give you glimpses. I'm not saying they don't tell you at all. But I might have gotten a little bit of the banter in the first book, and then I would be like, oh, okay. This one just felt like you were just like thrust into like their hating each other. But it didn't really feel that convincing, which is okay, because once you get past them hating each other, it's like the romance is pretty good. It's smooth sailing. It's not unconvincing. The enemies part is a little unconvincing because I'm like, you don't hate him. You don't really hate him. He doesn't hate you, so. So I do know they had stuff in the first book, but because I didn't get to read that, it didn't convince me enough that they really were like enemies. So let me just say this. Once we get past the hating him part, we are able to get to this one part where I'll just say it is a top-notch kissing scene. Oh my god. Like I don't know. It's not their first kiss. I'm gonna say it's not their first kiss, okay? It's a different kiss after that, but it is top notch. It's Chuck's kiss. It's immaculate. Like it was it. Oh, also I screenshotted 2 quotes that cracked me up. So I will put one here. This quote is a mood. And then this quote reminded me of Twilight because I kept thinking about how Juno is literally like hundreds of years old, and I was like, isn't this kind of like how Edward was hundreds of years old? And everyone was like, ew, Edward, like why are you going after a 16-year-old? You're like senile. So I was like, how do we feel about this? It does weird me out a little bit that he's hundreds of years old, and it kind of reminds me of Edward and how that was weird too. But then she clears that up. Okay, so. And then I also wrote, I said, this might only be funny to me, but I got Halloween Town vibes whenever I thought about how Juno is a goblin since he's a Dogobi. And I kept thinking of Luke from Halloween Town because he also was a goblin that looked like a human. So they're both goblins that look like humans. I was like, I think they would have made good friends. Like if they ever met, I just would like to imagine that they would have been friends if they ever met. I think it was a little bit slow to start. There are a lot of pages. It's like 400 pages around there. It's a little over 400 pages. So it was kind of hard to get the ball rolling, I guess. So overall, this book was like super fun, and I loved getting to be a part of their friend group. And it was just something that like I've never read before. I've never read Korean mythology before, so this was really, really fun just to read and just to be a part of that. And so I guess for me, I would give this book a 3.5. Some parts were a little lacking, but it's because I think I was reading it as a companion novel. It would make more sense if I was reading it as a sequel, but I think if you read the first one, then this is definitely a 4-star read. For sure, this is a 4-star read and up. I mean, if you loved the first one, but I think me coming into it, it was some parts like it was just missing a little bit. But otherwise, I mean, 4-star read, like so much fun. The cover is amazing. It takes place in Seoul. Like I want to travel there right now. I want to go hop on a plane and be there because it takes place like in the summer for them still. So since summer's like technically ending here, it felt good to just be like, you know, they're not in school. I'm not in school right now. I just finished my summer classes. Like let's just like freeze time and be in this moment. And so I was able to be in this moment in this book, you know, and be with like and experience it with them. And their friends are like so funny, and so I definitely would recommend this, you know, for anyone starting out reading fantasy to read the series. Just yeah, I think what I really liked is that I feel like I can read paranormal fantasy now because I was like scared of it for the longest time, being like, oh my gosh, what if it scares me, if it freaks me out. But this is a YA paranormal, like urban fantasy, like romance fantasy, like all that stuff. It's all of it put in one, so it makes it really like not scary to read. It's like it could be a stepping stone, you know, to more fantasy books, and it's really fun to follow this journey and to now be a part of it, you know, because I didn't really know about this book before. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you made it this far, that is amazing. So yeah, okay.